Hello guys, how are you doing? It's your boy Dave. We're going to be cloning Netflix using Figma. We're going to clone this Netflix interface using Figma. Look at this. These are all movies. So welcome to my Figma tutorial. I've made a lot of tutorials on Figma, so if this is the first time of you taking my course, you should know that there are so many other Figma tutorials. Alright. That I've made. Just click on my name and you'll get there. Alright, so visit figma.com and that's where we're gonna start. And it's opening. If you don't have an account with Figma, you should just sign up. It's free. Alright. Do check out the pricing plans though, just in case you need a paid version. But for this tutorial, I'm using the free version and it's sufficient. So make sure you have your internet connection. Alright, my Figma has opened. You click on this plus sign, or look for a plus sign at the top. You click on it and it will open. That's basically the sign for creating new file or new project. Okay, first things first, alright? First things first. We're going to click on this. So when you want to clone a website, first thing you do is to screenshot that website. You screenshot it and import it into your project so that you can see it as you are cloning it. Alright. So I screenshotted the Netflix, and there you go. Click open, and it's important. So it's asking me where it should be placed. I'm just going to click empty space, and now as you can see it has imported. So if you're wondering what I'm using to move it around, it's just my mouse pad. I put my 2 fingers on my mouse pad. I'm using a MacBook Air, by the way. I put my 2 fingers on my mouse pad and I'm dragging it around. Alright, so we have our Netflix here. Next thing we should do is to create an interface. Okay, so I'm going to click outside to deselect this. So I come here and click on this frame. So it shows me sample frames for different designs. Okay, so there are different screen sizes and designs, and Apple Watch and paper social media designs and stuff. But I want to design for a desktop screen. It's a website. Okay, so it's for desktop. I'll click on this and it drops a sample screen size for me. Alright, so good. Now, first thing you notice is that this screen size is bigger than this Netflix. So what I'll do is to align them, since I want to clone exactly the Netflix. Now, if you are dragging this to align, you will see that once you get it perfectly, Figma will inform you with a red dot here. Look at this. You see? Figma just informed me that I'm on the perfect alignment with that red dot. So that's the first thing. The second thing we're going to do is we need, if you look at this now, if you look at this Netflix design, you see that there's a certain space distance between here and here. So in web development, you will call this padding. Now, if you look at the top too, see that there's a certain distance between the top and texts. Look at this. See? And if you look at the extreme here, alright, you see that, let me see. Okay, it's not immediately visible here, but I guess you already understood what I'm trying to show you. Just the distance between objects. So to do that, we have to add a grid. Alright, a grid is just temporary lines on your page that will help you align your items properly. So this does auto layout, but this does layout grid. So if you click on grid, for instance, it's going to give you all this kind of grid. Then you can click to customize it. You can increase different kind of settings. Let's see, 30. You see, you can increase and you can decrease. But if you want to remove the grid, you right click, you click here, left click, and it will remove the grid. There's an auto grid. For instance, this is auto grid. All right, so auto grid kind of adds grids to your design. Auto layout helps you create dynamic frames. So, but we don't need it now. We'll click this minus to remove. Let's get back to layout grid. And by default, this is the grid. This is what it gives you. This might be sufficient. This lines, look at this one aligns to this. It might be sufficient for you to design stuff and place it in proper perspective. But at the same time, I just want to show you through some other settings in the grid. So what if I change the type of grid to columns? Look at this. Alright, so if you look at this, these are 5 columns. That's why it's indicating 5 here. And this is the color settings. And the stretch, that's the setting. But what if we put it to right or center, left? You see? Okay, now you can adjust the width and the gutter. The gutter is the distance between each of the grids. Okay, let's look at rows. Look at rows. If we put it as stretch. So you should just know that these things are just guides to help you design things and arrange them properly on your page. But actually, since I'm cloning Netflix, I don't think I really need any of this. So I'm going to disable it by clicking this banner sign, and it's gone. Okay, so we're back to where we started. So let's start cloning Netflix. The first thing you notice about Netflix is that there's this dark fade that fades into light here at the top. Then there's a background picture, this particular picture in the background. So let's go to Google and look for a good picture we can use as background before we start laying over things on top of it. So I opened a new tab now. I'm going to Google to search for a wedding ceremony. Enter. Okay, so if I click on images, Google is just one place to get images. Remember, you can't just take any image you see on Google. You have to take the ones that you are permitted to take. So you click on tools, click on usage rights, Creative Commons, and there you go. We're now seeing wedding pictures that we can use. Now, Google is not the only place you can find pictures. There's a website called Pexels. Pexels, Pexels.com. Pexels. So Pexels gives you free images. So we're going to search for wedding. Enter. So as you can see, you can even sign up, right, and start adding your own wedding photos on Pexels. Alright, you see, beautiful. So I'm going to use this one. So if you copy it, then you come back to your Figma design, select this, and Ctrl V on my keyboard to paste. Alright, so I've pasted it. Let me drag it around. So there are settings and exposure. Look at this. There are a lot of image settings you could do. Alright, well, I'm not doing any of that. So I'll right click. So I have to minimize the image, is too large. You see how Figma helps me to snap into grid. So this is the kind of thing I want. Perfect. Alright, but before then, I think I should paint the general background black, right? Okay, so here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna get, oops, what did I just do? Ctrl Z, we're back. So I'm going to come here and select a square. I'll draw a perfect square from here, or rectangle. Alright, so I'm going to paint it black. So I click here, look for black. Yeah. So I have to put the picture above it. Look at this. I have to put the picture above. So I'll drag the picture above the rectangle. So the picture now shows above it. Beautiful. So far so good. Now if you look at this picture, you'll see that some parts of it are dark. Like half of this picture to this place is a little darker, and here is a little brighter. Alright, how do we achieve that? I'm going to throw another rectangle on top of it. Alright, so we draw it on top. So we make the rectangle black. Make it black. Select black that already exists. It's black now. But we're going to make it transparent. Make it transparent. We're going to make it really transparent. Let's say 10%. It's 100% now. Let's make it 10%. Or 10% is too light. Let's put it at 30. Okay, I think 30 is a little bit too light. Let's put it at 45. Alright, 45 is just about great. What if we put it at 60? Okay, it's becoming better now. Now let's go ahead with something else. If we actually click on this whole color thing, instead of having it solid, we can have it linear. Linear means it's like a gradient. I'm gonna reduce this. Linear means it's dark from one side to another. So what if we drag the dark side to this side and the light side to this side, and then we'll pull somewhere here. I think this makes sense somewhere around here. Okay, this other place is a little dark, so let's see if we can increase the darkness of the linear. I put it at 80%. Okay, I think it's looking like what I want. 70 or 75? 75. Oops. 75. Enter. What's really happening? $70. Okay, something like this. Alright, I'm not really impressed with this image because the image doesn't seem to be that balanced or centered. Well, let's see this image. I'm not impressed with the wedding picture we chose. We could swap it, right? We could swap it with another picture. But generally it's okay, never mind. Just make sure you choose a better wedding picture than I did if you want. So the next challenge will be the top. Look at this top, alright? Look at this top. So to do that, this top is darkened from top to out. So we'll repeat the same trick we used. Get a rectangle and then zoom in and draw. Just in case you want to get the exact height, you could place these two side by side so you can get it. This is what I mean. Let me click outside, click here. I can actually drag this to the right. Alright, so I can get the exact height and length of everything, you see. So our page seems longer already, so we can actually get the exact height and length of the two of them. This is what I mean. This is where it should be, and this one should be here. You see? Then this particular one is okay here. So as usual, we'll put it at 70%, 70, enter. But then we'll make it black. We'll choose black. Enter. So for some reason it did not turn black, so we'll click here, choose black. Okay, now it's black, but actually we need it to be linear. So we'll click this, and I've set it to linear now. If I cancel this, now you can see what it turned to. Let me click outside. You see, that's what it turned to. Alright, honestly I think it's a little too dark. So we can click on here and make it 60%. Yeah, perfect. Then we can get back to that linear stuff, and you see, make sure that it pulls back just a little. Alright, so you just take your time and arrange your smudge properly. But if I click outside now, you can see that I now have the kind of thing I'm looking for. Alright, so we can actually now start here to start arranging these things right on the side. So for that, I'll drag this down. So first of all, I want to resize this so that it will be the same size with this one. I'll still make it a little longer later, but let me click on this desktop, and then I'll pull this all the way to here. Perfectly. So now I want to drag this underneath, so I can be seeing two of them at the same time, all the way underneath. Okay, beautiful. Alright, the next thing we're gonna do is to we need icons. First of all, we need a search icon, we need a gift icon, we need a bell icon, we probably need an emoji, and a carrot or an arrow, whatever. So to get icons, there are so many ways you can get icons into Figma. Alright, the easiest way is to use a plugin. So I'm going to right click here, or you can just go to any icon set website. A good example is Font Awesome. So I'm going to go to fontawesome.com, and get icons that I need. When Font Awesome opens, you search. Alright, so here's the first. We search. So we're looking for the search icon. That's why I typed search there. So it's gonna pull up the search icon for me, and then after that we'll look for other ones, like these are the icons we're looking for. We're looking for search, gift, bell, and whatever icons we can use to replace this, and then downward carrot. We also need right carrot for the play button. We need information. Alright, these are things we need. Alright, so we're gonna do some downloading of some. Okay, so look at the first one. So I'm gonna click on it. Make sure you have good internet, otherwise you could click on it and you think it's not working, but actually it's loading. Alright, so now once you see it, you click on this arrow, downward arrow, and it downloads it. Look at the lower. Okay, agree and download. Now look at the lower left corner of my screen. You see it has downloaded. So I'm gonna have to go back to the other screen, scroll up, come here and search for bell or ringer, depending on what it's called. I got it. So here, click on this, wait a little. Okay, so once it opens with download, click on here to download, agree and download, and that's it. The next one we're looking for is right carrot. Okay, let me call it carrot. I know it because I know it's carrot because of course I know the icon offhand. The more icons you download, the more likely that you are going to know them offhand. So we need something like this for the play button. I'll right click, opening a new page, and we need the one that points down. This one. I'll click on it. Alright, so I download that. Agree and download. And I'll go to the next page. This list is information or info. I'm looking for an icon that has an eye. There we go. Now, one thing about this kind of icons is that if it's faded this way, that means it's pro. As you can see, you have to pay to get it, but if it's not faded, then it's free. So I can click on this free one, download, agree and download. Alright, now we got the icons we need. We can get back to Figma, and of course, to use those things here, it's not hard. What you have to do is just drag them from where you downloaded it from, drag them from here into your workspace. Now as you can see, it's here. So I'll paint it white and then keep it. So this is how you paint it white. Just paint it, select white, and that's it. For this, I want to use it for this. It's actually black, but let me keep it first. Let me paint it another color so that I can see it. So I'm gonna keep it here for the meantime. I'll drag the info, paint it another strange color, and keep it so that when I need it, I can easily pull it out. Alright, all the other ones we downloaded sort of disappeared here. Just to get them back, one way is to go back to your Chrome browser, go to downloads, and you can see all the past ones that I've downloaded. So one thing we can do is to click here, and it will show us where it is in the folder. These are the last three I downloaded, so I'm going to select 3 of them. Then I'll open my Figma workspace, open it right back, then drag it into the workspace. Look at this now. I will pull this. Alright, select this, 3 of them, drag them into the workspace. You see if I pull to the right, now I can since all of them are selected, I can actually manipulate all of them at the same time, knowing that here, this is where I want them to be. All of them are the same color, which is white. So here I can paint all of them white, select white. Alright, cool. I can also reduce the size. I feel that the sizes should be, just a guess, 32 by 32. Enter. Okay, so they look like it, more like it now, you see. Let me pull them in. And good. So they are widely spaced. Now I can work with them. If I click now, I can work with Ctrl Z. I can work with an individual. Oops, Ctrl Z. Just make sure you're not selecting the wrong thing. Let me click outside. Yeah, you see, I can work with any of them now. If I click on this, I can drag. Then click on this. I'm going to show you another way of adding icons. Another way of adding icons is to select where you want to put the icon, which is here. I've clicked on this once. I'll right click. Under plugins, there are different plugins that give you icons. So the one I usually use is Content Reel. It has a lot of icons. So one way to add icons, if you don't have it, if you don't have all this, that means you've not added any plugins. So the way to do that is to click on Manage Plugins. So now it has opened. This page shows you the list of plugins you have. But if you click on Community, you can actually search Content Reel. Alright, hit enter. Okay, so here you select plugins, then you see it, and then you click install. Click install. It was created by Microsoft and has 172,000 installs. So click install. There are so many plugins. For instance, if you click here, there are so many plugins depending on whatever you want to do. So many plugins. So for instance, I can search for icons, hit enter, then click on plugin. Then you see a whole lot of icon sets. Okay. For instance, here I can install material icons. Then I can install icon 8 free icons. Good. So after installing this, if you get back to your Figma, you'll see that you can right click now, go to plugins, and then you'll see material design icons, content trail, and all these ones we just added. So I've never used material design icons, but let's use it. So which icon are we going to add? The gift icon. So I've selected it. It takes a little time, but it's going to show up. All right. Now we can look for box gift. Okay, yeah, something like this. Then you can drag out or you double click. So I clicked on it. Look at it. As you can see, it's tiny, really tiny. So I'm gonna paint it white. Here, select white, and it's white. Good. Now I can drag it around. Zoom out. If you want to zoom in or zoom out, you pinch on your screen. Okay. Remember that we use 32 here, 32 by 32. So I can actually put it at 32 by 32. Hit enter like others, so it gets to the same size as others. Now we can start doing things here. For instance, here the first icon is the search icon. So if we zoom in, the search icon is already well positioned, I guess, but it's too down. I click the icon now. I'm gonna move it up with my cursor key. So I'm using my cursor key. Let me just be sure that yeah, moving my cursor key. Good. Now the next icon is this is a text that says kids. So click on this and write a text here, and the text says capital letter kids. Click outside. Now the text is selected. We can manipulate it. We can put it at 18. It's too tiny. I think it's still too tiny. Okay, yeah, well, it's still too tiny. Let's put it at 22. Enter. Okay, it's starting to look more like it now. 25. Enter. Okay, good. Now I think it is white, so we can make it white. Select this. Select white. Cancel, and there you go. Kids, good. Now makes sense. Even though I think it's a little too big. But we don't really have to get the dimensions perfectly well. Put it at 22. Okay, good. Now the next thing is the gift wrap. So we get the gift wrap and put it here. Now notice that as I'm dragging the icons, once I align it perfectly to show me a red line, which is really amazing about Figma. The next one is the bell icon. Drag the bell icon. Once I put it well, it's gonna show me. Okay. Finally, there's this strange blue icon. So one thing I can do is to actually copy it. Another thing I can do is to try and create it manually. So for now, I'm just gonna use any option, or maybe I can ignore it since this is not a live project. So here, I think this is actually too big. So I can zoom it in a little, reduce it a little, because if you look here, see that it's actually very tiny. Then I align it. Now if you want distance to be perfectly spaced well, one thing you can do is to select all of them. If you select all of them, I'm holding my shift key now and clicking each of them. You can come up here and say distribute horizontal spacing. Click. See, they are now perfectly spaced automatically. Good. We need that square stuff, so I'll select square, create a small square here, make it curved. Look at this. The edges are not curved, so but if you look at this one, you will see that the edges are curved. You see? Alright, so to curve edges here, you just put a number here on this, click enter. It's too curved, so I'll put it at 5, enter. Yeah, then I'll give it a color. In Figma you can actually steal colors. Look at what I mean. So if I click on this now, I'll click on this tool, then I'll come to the part of the page where I want to get the color. Look at it, I'll select this and it's gonna give me the color. Cancel. And when you look now, you're gonna see, you see it now has that color. Now if I want to take my time, which I don't want to do, I can actually take my time and build other things. For instance, that eyes it's supposed to be white. Click, make it white. Then I'll press Command D or Control D to duplicate. Now it has duplicated. I'll hold my Shift key to make sure that when I'm dragging it, it's dragging on exactly a straight line. Look at this. This is now a straight line. Okay, good. Another thing we can do, let's make an attempt to build this arc. This is an arc, right, that shows kind of a smiley. So a good attempt would be, we'll get a circle. There are many ways to accomplish this kind of thing, but generally I would prefer to use a circle. So I'll come here, I draw a circle. You can hold your Shift key so that you can draw a perfect circle if you want. Alright, now I have it. I can click on this icon here that says Edit Object. Now you can see that this object now has different points. Actually, I don't want to edit it, I just want to be able to delete some parts. So I can click here, hit delete on my keyboard. Now that part is gone. I click here, hit delete, that part is gone. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I can click one more, delete. Now we have only this. So I can start manipulating this. For instance, if I come here, let me select it, click. Okay, I can click on stroke. You see, stroke already has some settings. So look at what it looks like, but I want it to be white. So I can select white. Now it's white. And I can close this. Now other things I want to do is to rotate it. So I can press escape on my keyboard to deselect it. So it is now deselected. Escape again to deselect. And then zoom out. So now I've deselected it to this point. I can now rotate it. Look at this. If you place your mouse close to any of the edges, it will be rotatable. So I can click outside and rotate. Then drag it into this. You see? Click outside. Now we have something similar to what we want. If you feel it's too big, you can actually now reduce it. Look at this. We can reduce. See? Good. I'm just showing you some ways to manipulate, create any object you want in Figma. Now when you create things like this, you want to group them so that they can always be moved together. So what I will do is I'll select this, hold my Shift key, select this, and select this. Then I'll right click and group selection. Now I can move them around together. Otherwise they'll be moving differently. If I ever want to move any of them differently, I can double click and then I can move differently. See? Control Z and it's back. Alright, good. So whenever you do stuff like this, you try and group all these icons. Now I can still group them. For instance, I can select, hold my Shift key, click, 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 and click. Then Control G to group, or you right click and group. The shortcuts are here. Group. So if I want to move any of this now, all of them will go together. So as you build stuff, it's good to group them so that you don't accidentally scatter everything. Now that's good. The next challenge we have is to create these now. So what we have is home, TV shows, movies, new and popular, my playlist. Okay, so we'll get a text and we need to get it at this right part, so it has to be perfect to this place. Okay, so home, so I've clicked outside, make it white. Here, make it white. And we need to be sure that it's actually perfectly white. Look at this. Okay, it's perfectly white, but it's a little bold. So if I click here, I can press Ctrl B, or I can come here and make it bold. Where is it? Here, regular, so I can make it bold. Okay, now it's bold. So next thing is, I want to make sure that it's aligned. Look at this red line. The red line is showing me that I'm getting to the point that it aligns with the rest of this content, you see? So if I click outside now, you can see that it's aligned with the rest of the content. Good. The rest is the TV shows. So we'll click another text. And we might want to do some magic here. TV shows. Click outside. Use my cursor key to move it up until it aligns. Now it has perfectly aligned. Now, if you notice these ones, they are not perfectly white and they are not bold. Alright, so I'll remove that from bold, make it regular, and I'll make sure that they are not perfectly white. So I'll fade it a little. So it's black now. I'll put it at white first of all, then I'll fade it, put it at say 80%, 80, enter. You see? Makes sense now. Now we're going to spread it. Okay, so I'll hold my shift key, not shift key now, but command D or control D to duplicate. I've pressed it, it has duplicated now. So I'll hold my shift key so that when I'm dragging, it's dragging on a straight line. Look at this. Okay, now we've got it. The next thing we need to do is to duplicate that effort. So into how many places? We have TV shows, movies, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm gonna do command D, command D, command D. Alright, you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, somehow though, I feel that these texts are too big. As you can see, they're too big, so we're gonna reduce them eventually. But now let's get the text correctly. So the next one is movies, news and popular, and my list. So movies, news and popular, and my list. As you can see, it's now clashing with this, so I'm gonna have to hold my shift key and drag this. Shift key and drag this. Okay, my list. Okay, good. Now we can make sure that the distances are close. Now we can reduce the text size, font sizes. So I'll click this, click, and click. Then go for a smaller font. Instead of 22, I'm gonna put it at let's try 18. Enter. Compare. Alright. I think it's still just a little smaller, so I'm gonna put it at 15. Enter. Yes, good. Now we're gonna bring them together as much as possible. They're too spread here, so I'll bring it together. Don't worry if you're not giving them the perfect space. We're going to use that old trick to get it to be perfect. So we're going to hold the shift key, select, and then we'll come here, horizontal spacing, and boom, they're now perfectly spaced out. Okay, good. That's fine. So the next challenge is the Netflix. Now it's all in capital letters. Remember that there are so many fonts, so I'm going to click here and click here and hold my shift key to type in capital Netflix. Click outside so it can be selected. Now we can start manipulating. The font is too small. Let's put it at 40. Enter. Okay, now it looks more like it. I think it's actually too big. What if it goes to 30? Enter. Good. Good. So the next thing is, you can take your time here to find the right font. If you click here, you need to install fonts, but if you've not installed the font, you will not see this list of fonts, but it will prompt you to download fonts. So make sure you have internet, download and install fonts into your laptop so that you can have access to this. Now the reality is that I don't even know the font that looks most closely to this, so I will not even try to change any font. Make sure before you start looking at looking for new fonts, make sure you memorize the default fonts that is there, so that if you get lost in trying out fonts, you can know the one to get back to. Now this is one place that the design is not amazing. For instance, they would have written each font in the font style so that we can know which one to deal with. But then we're going to choose the red color. Remember, there's a way to snipe colors, so I've already selected this. Oops, it's selected. So if I scroll up here, I can select the color, select this tool and zoom in here, so they can give me exactly this color. Click. Now if we get back, we can then see that that color is already there. The next thing we're going to do is to make it bold. So let's make it bold. You see? That's Netflix. So one other thing you're going to notice is that it's actually curved. It's curved. There are several ways we can try that. A good way would be to put a box over it. Look at this. I can draw a box here over it. Now I have a box over it. I can make the box go under first. So to do that, look at this right. There are many ways to accomplish that though, but if you look at this right, you see that this box is selected and it's showing that this box is here. Now the text is Netflix. Look at it here. So this box is over the Netflix because it's above it in hierarchy here. So if I drag it directly under, Netflix will come on top. Then I can arrange well, and then I can make the box transparent. Alright, the way to do that is to drag this to the extreme and the box is transparent now. But before it becomes transparent, I want to group the two of them together. So I'll zoom in and group. Select the text, hold Shift key and select the box. Then Command G to group, or right click, group selection. Now they are together, right? I can actually double click the box. See, I've selected the box. Now I can make it transparent, 0%. It has disappeared. If I click here, if I hit escape button now, you see that you can't see the box. But if I click it now, the beautiful thing is that we can manipulate it. Now if I click on this, it's now easily manipulatable. I made a mistake, I clicked the wrong button, so I'm going to Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z until Ctrl Z. Look at this, look at the color it is. It's because I click on the component color button, so I'll Ctrl Z until I get out of this cyan color. Okay, Ctrl Z. Okay, there we go. So now it's still a group. Alright, when I select on it, so here's the deal. For the purpose of the length of this video, I'm gonna stop trying to curve this text. If you want to curve this text, it's best advised that you go to Photoshop and curve it, then bring it back, or you simply just copy this, because curving text in Figma is damn near impossible. At least at this time, it's not a feature they have implemented, so you have to walk around a lot of corners. So to do that, to proceed, I'm just going to ungroup so that I can delete the rectangle. Look at the rectangle here. I'd like to delete it. Right click and look for delete. Since I can't find delete, I'll hit the delete on my keyboard. Now the rectangle is gone. So we're going to manage this like that. Now the next things we need to have is end film. End with film. Now if you look at this end, you see that there's a way they built it. We can try to build ours like that. we can try to construct ours, or we can just write an N. So if we want to construct ours, it's gonna be this way. Just get a rectangle, alright, this way, and I'm gonna paint it red, but it's gonna be a red of this. So I'll zoom in here, pick this, select this red, okay, close, zoom out. Okay, now we have that red. Then I can Control D. Now it's still selected. Control D and Control D again. Alright, good. Now we have 3 of it. I can drag out the first, and then the second I can rotate. You see? Then I drag. There you go. So as for this one I rotated, we can look out for the color. So I'll click here, select this tool, pick the color, and okay, there you go. You see, now it's actually, if you zoom in well, you see that this one is under this one. It shouldn't be. So if I click on this, keep your eyes here. If I click on this, you see that this one is above and this one is below. So I'll drag it on top. You see, now it's on top of both of them. The other things like skewing the sides. If you want to skew the sides, remember to click here, and you find yourself being able to drag the sides, you see, this way. And I'll bring this down a little. And then here I can also skew. That is how. And then I'll hit escape, right? Escape again. You know when to stop hitting your escape when this menu reappears. Then I can pull it up a little. This is what I mean. I'm pulling it up so it will match exactly. A little. Okay. Oops. Click. Then come down and see. So it's good I'm showing you these things so you see how to adjust, how to build your own Netflix logo and logos around whatever you're building. Okay, now we have this. Our next challenge, let me click outside. Our next challenge would be to I don't like what's going on here, so I'll click this. I will drag this to this place. Okay, and I'll drag this to this place. Good. Let's look at the bottom. Okay, so we'll have to group them. So I'll look at this menu here, hit escape, and we're back. Okay, now I can group them. Click on this, hold my shift key, click on this and click on this, then command G, or I'll right click in the middle, group selection. Now I've grouped it, I can move it around, and of course the next thing is to scale it down to what we're looking for. The reason I grouped it is so that we can use it elsewhere. Look at it, it's used so many times here. Look at all this. Okay, now knowing the exact size to stop is an issue. So let's look at this. We're gonna make a guess. From this two ends looks alike in size. So we're going to, yeah, something like this. A Netflix original. Okay, so we're gonna type film. Film looks to be in the same size with this, but this time it's capital. So I'm gonna copy one of these. Command D, and then I'll drag. So I'll take a look again how this is. Film, it's in the middle of the N, alright? Middle aligned. So double click inside, capital letter film. I want to look again. The film has spaces in between. Fine, so I'll put space, put space, put space. Now another thing is it's bold. So I'll click outside. It is selected now. Now we can make it bold. Remember how to make it bold. It's regular here, I'll make it bold. Beautiful. We got it. A Netflix film. So the next thing is the princess switch. Switched again. Okay, the princess switch. We need to look at the distance between here and here. I'm gonna make you an educated guess, but remember that you can actually measure it, like draw a box here and use it here, or you carry this to the side so you can measure. But me, I don't really care again. I can just put it around here. Yeah, it's just a guess. Okay, Netflix film. Good. Now we're gonna write the princess switch. Okay, the princess switch. The princess switch. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna work the font size to about 40. Oops, we have to click outside first. And the font size to about 40. Okay, now it's looking like it. I think 40 is too big. 30. Yeah, somewhere around that. Then the color should be white. Okay, now where we're gonna have problem is trying to find this font, because fonts in fonts here, there's no way to tell you, there's nothing to tell you which font you're looking for. They're all written in the same font. Look at this. Unless you already know the font, it's kind of difficult finding the exact font you're looking for. Like, you have to already know the font. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to continue as if nothing happened. You can try checking out different fonts and see what applies. Alright, okay, I still think it's a little too small. I'm going to put it at 35, enter. And yeah, so we're gonna write the next one switched again. It is easy. Right, we're still on it, and we see that this switch dragged on to the extreme even more than this. So normally we're supposed to need a larger text, so we have 40. So what you have to know is text manipulation in Figma is a little tricky. It's not as robust as you would see in Photoshop. If it was in Photoshop, I can easily drag this around, but in Figma you're just limited to the text. You can drag it around like a box. Alright, so let's say I'll click outside so it gets selected. So I'll put it at 45 just to see 45. Now the other thing you notice is that the again is under. There is no much space in between. So there are some settings, line numbers and stuff we could do here. Put this in the middle, for instance. And there are a number of settings that we could do here. But what I'll prefer is I'll make them separate. The again will be separate. Control X to cut. Alright, I'll make them separate so that switched will be on its own. Okay. Alright, let's increase this to, let's say, 65%. Hit enter. It looks strange, but if we drag this around, we'll see that kind of looks like what we're looking for. You see? Even though of course it's not perfect, but it looks like it. Now of course we can change the color to white. Good. And we can get another text, put it under, and call it again. Make it the same size, right? Again, the same size should be 65 roughly. And the color should be white. Okay. This one, a duchess about to become a queen, a romantic rift only her double can fix. Okay, good. Let's write a dutch. Oops, it's too big, so we have to reduce first. At 65, we need it at 20. So then we need it white. Okay, so we can start typing. A duchess about to become a queen, a romantic rift only her double can fix. Let's see how it done. Only, so it broke at only her double can fix, and a scheming new look-alike bent on trouble. Only, so here hit enter, and then full stop, and a scheming new look alike bent on trouble, bent enter on trouble, full stop. Okay, now I'll click outside, then I can drag this. Okay, we're gonna look at some things. What's the space here and what's the alignment here? As you can see, it can be here and the alignment can be perfect. This. Good. Remember that the background here, we can still make it a little darker. Look at the background. We can say 80%. You see, it's darker, and I think it's actually better. 80% is better. Okay. Now the other thing is here, the on trouble is in the middle, but actually here it's on the extreme. So I've selected the text. Instead of having it in the middle, I can have it here. You see, it's better now, right? Good. Another thing is if we click this background and click here, now we have our linear. Look at this, you see this line? So if we draw it a little, why is it not drawing? Oh shit. Let's start again. Cancel. Select. Okay. You see what I'm talking about? So if we zoom in, you see that it's much darker now, much better. So the text is easily better readable, and I think it looks better this way. Now if you look at this end film, you see that it's almost touching this T. So what we can do is to click on this and click on that, the end, click on both of them, then drag them down together. Good. Alright, the next thing is to put the play and the button and the more info button. Alright, so and what's the distance? Just a small distance between the two of them. What we can do here is the play button. Okay. Now the play button has the word play and this. Okay. So I think it's too big. Good. We're gonna look at the edges are not curved. Look at this. Let me zoom in. See, the edges are not curved, so we can come here and curve it. Let's put it at 5. Enter. You see it's curved now. Now the color is supposed to be white. Okay. So do the color. Make the color white. And then okay, white, then we'll write the words play. So we have to bring in the icon. So we'll drag this icon on top of it. Minimize. Zoom in. Position. I think it's still too big. Yeah. Position, good. It has to be black, pure black, black. Then we'll write on it. play. Click outside, then drag. Then I can reduce the size of this. Now let's go check whether it looks similar. See? They look similar. They look similar. Only thing is that the play button, this seems to be closer. I'm using my cursor key to move this. Yeah. Okay, same thing with more info. So we draw another button and we're gonna call it more info. So as usual, we'll put a curve of 5 on it, 5%, enter. Then is it the same size? It's not, so we can drag it until it becomes the same size. Good. Now it has to be this color. This color is transparent, so we'll look for something dark. It's black, but then we'll reduce the transparency. You can drag the transparency here. Let's look. I don't think that thing is black. I think it's somewhere around here. Yeah, I think it's somewhere around here. Then the transparency, exactly, is what I'm looking for. Somewhere around there. So we're gonna call it more info with this circle. So we're gonna write, I'm gonna duplicate this, Control D or Command D, and I hold my Shift key and drag in a straight line. Yeah. Then oops, click, escape. What's happening? I think it's behind. That text went behind. Look at it. This box is above it, so I'll drag this play text above. Okay, now it has appeared. It's supposed to be white, right? So we'll come here and make it white. Let's be sure that we're dealing with pure white. So if we scroll, yeah, it's pure white. So if we zoom in, we're gonna call it more info. More info. Now the only other thing remaining is the icon here. We couldn't find the perfect icon on play, so we're gonna use this. To use this, I have to check the size of this one. This one is 12 by 16, so if I click on this, I can drag it here, change the color to white, and then go for 12 by 16. Up here, 12 by 16 by 16. Enter. Okay, so if I click outside now, you can see. So usually once you create something together like this, you're supposed to group it. So I'm going to hold my Shift key, click on this, click on this, click on this, and then group. Command G, group. It has grouped. Oops, mistake. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. So I accidentally selected the wrong thing. So yeah, group selection. That's grouped. We'll do the same thing here. Click, 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 and then you can group selection. So we can now move it as a unit. Now the other thing remaining is this: continue watching for Dave partner. Alright, so we're approaching here just on top of this place. We can say continue watching for Dave partner. Click outside and make this white. Good. And it's bold. We don't want it to be bold, it should be regular. Okay, so if I zoom out now and compare, click outside, I think it's actually bold, regular, make it bold. Okay, good. All right, I think we got it. So the only other thing remaining are these boxes. So we wouldn't design these things one by one. Instead, we're just gonna crop them and use as pictures here. Alright. If we zoom in, you will see that here is dark, kinda dark. So the whole background is dark, which is good. So let's start. You can get your own pictures from anywhere, but generally I will take these. Alright. To put a picture, first of all, you need to put it in a box. So we're gonna show up with a box. Draw a box to make sure we get the size accurately. The box is gonna be this. Alright. If you look here, you see that the box is 247 by 138. So you can draw it directly if you're comfortable. Otherwise, you do what I'm about to do. Drag the box from here all the way to this place. Okay. So if we zoom in now, the box doesn't necessarily have to have a background. Okay. Now the next thing is to actually get this. To get this, to do that, what I'll do is I'm using a MacBook, so I'm gonna crop this out. For you, you can just go to Google, search for images. Alright. I'm gonna crop this. Crop. It has cropped, so I'll drag it into from my system into here. So if I minimize, generally in this case, it doesn't seem that we need the white box at the background, so I can delete it and put this. Look at. Then if you zoom in, you see that this is square shaped, the edge here. But if you look at this one, see that it's curved. So what do? We'll click on this, and then here we'll put a curve. 10 is too much. I'll put a 5 curve on it. 5. Now it's curved. So I'm going to do the same for these other ones. Basically zoom in, cut, oops, crop. Hold Shift and Command 4 on my MacBook. Shift Command 4, that's what I use to crop a picture directly from the page. For you, like I said, you can just go to Google to download, because I wouldn't be teaching cropping here. So once you download, you drag it into your screen the way we did icons. Then you can reduce. For me to be sure of the size, what I'll do is this. I will click on this and copy the size, 249 by 139. So I'll do it here, 249 by 139. Enter. Okay, now we need 5. So for some reason, okay, there's some other things we missed. For instance, the reason why the numbers were changing is because this is locked, so I'm gonna remove this so it's not locked. So 249 by 139. Good. So we'll have to arrange it so that it will, yeah. So once you position it well, you see that red sign. So how many do we have left? I'm gonna do this one again, triple font here. Hold Shift key, hold Command, press number 4, hold all of them together and draw. It snaps like a picture. Then I put it here, 249 verse 139. Click here, 249 139. just to be sure, click here 249.039. Okay, good. So don't worry if the spaces are not the same. Figma will always help you to get the spaces correctly. So I'll do for this again, and okay, so we'll scroll here, we'll drag it, we'll do the same, click here 249.139 and hit enter, and make sure it is curved 5. Then we'll drag and place. Now this one is not curved, so I'm going to put 5 here, 5, enter. And which other one? Okay, so one more, just one more, and here we are. We just drag and crop, and then come to this place, drag it into this place, unlock it, 249.139.5, enter. Good. Alright, so now if you want it to be properly spaced, which I think it already is, remember that you can hold your shift key, select all of them. After selecting, you can do here horizontal spacing. So the spaces are now perfectly, they are now perfectly spaced now. So now you can see that we've built this Netflix, and it's nice, right? So this is it basically. Other things you could do is to group. If there are any things you want to group, you can group them, but I think basically we got everything right. So I think something is hanging here. I need to delete. Make sure there are no components hanging outside your screen. The way to know is to move your mouse around. The ones hanging out will always expose themselves. So now when you're done, you can actually now delete the main file and leave your project. Now once you're done, if you want to export your project, make sure you just select your project by clicking the name. Look at this. You click the name, then you can export. Now another thing you can do is to rename the project. So if you double click here, you know it's labeled desktop 1 by default. I can call it Netflix homepage. Enter. You see, it's now Netflix homepage, which means if I want to create another page, I can click here, click desktop, or maybe let's say I want to create a mobile version of this. I can click on phone, select any phone I want, iPhone 11 Pro Max, and you see it gives me an iPhone 11. Then I can build for iPhone 11. Alright, then I name it Netflix mobile screen. Alright, remember you can always delete. There are many ways to delete, but if you want to delete, you just click on it, make sure it's highlighted, hit the delete button on your keyboard, and it's gone. So if you want to export, you just make sure you deselect everything. Nothing should be selected. You deselect everything by clicking outside, and then you click on export. It asks you the format you want to export in. You select. For now, if I select PNG, JPG, it would look like it would be a picture. You can even see the preview if you want, and then you can click export. Alright, I think generally we're done. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If this is my first tutorial that you're watching, just click on my name, go to my profile, and you get a lot of tutorials. You see a lot of my tutorials. Make sure that you sign up for them. Thank you very much. See you.